Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about how much money I spent on the Yamaha Tmax on fixing it. I spent a lot of time in labor, and that is not what I'm going to be talking about, because if I talked about labor, it would be thousands of dollars. So the Yamaha Tmax 500, this is a 2009. It's got 18,000 miles. And if you recall, I picked it up with it working, and the key wasn't really jiggling in there, and I managed to get it to run a couple of times, and then it just got worse. There was water under the seat. That was everything was rusted out. So I ended up doing much more work than I wanted, because I thought when I picked up this bike, it was working. I thought it would be a quick fix, but I did get a good deal on it, and let's go over some of the things that I spent on it. So the bike itself cost me $1,200. Not a lot for a Yamaha Tmax. That's why I jumped on it, because these in the used market, even with high miles, will cost about $3,000. So I thought, yeah, $1,200, you put in a new ignition and you're golden. But it ended up being a lot more expensive than I thought. Spark plugs. I spent about $12 on spark plugs, the OEM ones, and I got them in there. There's two of them. That's pretty much, it's a very inexpensive thing that I would have to do anyway. Next thing, I had to do a clutch replacement on it. I got one of the less expensive ones, and it was about $60. They do make a much more expensive one, but I went with the cheaper version. The belt, I had to replace the drive belt on it. That was $40. They do have a more expensive one at $100, but I chose the $40 one. Another thing I had to get was the fuel pump. So the fuel pump on my bike went bad. As soon as I removed it, something happened. And it might have been the return valve. So I still have the stock fuel pump, but I don't think it's worth it unless I just want to keep the motor itself. I got a piece of foam for the seat. As you recall, I fixed up the seat. That was $8 for the foam. And I got some serrated blades to cut the windscreen. With the seat, I already had the textile cloth, so I didn't spend any money on that. I already had the stapler. So once you have these tools, you don't spend as much money. The next thing I spent was the front tire. That was about $100. And the valve stem I already had, so I didn't spend money on that. And I just bought a rear tire that's coming in the mail, and that's about $100 as well. I got 3M tape to clear the headlights, and also all the stuff that I used for the headlights I already had, but the 3M clear coat I had to buy. That was $7. I got the gas cap. That was $7. And then I replaced the oil and filter. That was about $55 worth of oil and filter. I did this twice, but the second time when I changed the clutch, I just put the oil in a container, and then I reused it. I also spent $18 on air filters. So I got the air filter in the front, I got the air filter that goes over there, then the air filter for the drive belt, or 3 filters. And then there's like very minor things that I spend money on, but in total, I spent like $400 something in parts. Now I'm excluding labor, because if I was to include labor into this equation, it would not make sense to buy something that's not running like this and spend a couple of weeks fixing it. This bike is a great bike, and I will get my money when I sell it. And I picked up the bike for $1,200, so that's kind of like a really great deal. If you want to get a deal like that, you have to kind of take a gamble, because you don't know if the bike will work or it's got problems. When I picked up this bike, I thought it would be an easy fix. I thought, okay, I'm just going to switch out the ignition and it'll be running just like that. But it turned out it needed the clutch, the belt, and of course the oil filter. So in total, I spent about $1,700 with the bike. So $1,200 for the bike, the rest were just parts. As it is right now, I might be able to sell it even in winter. It's freezing out, 30 degrees, for about $3,200 to $4,000. So it really depends, but there is a audience that really loves this bike. Now this is the blue version. They also made a black and yellow version that's much better looking in my opinion. It's a great bike. This thing does have quite a bit of pep. And the reason this is a popular bike is because, first of all, it's kind of rare, but it's also unlike the Silverwing or the Bergman. The Bergman and Silverwing tend to be kind of like a lounging cruiser type of scooter where you sit kind of like further back. This one is high. It's got a high position for seating, so even me at 5'9", I can't really flat-foot it. And it feels much more like a sport bike. It's considered a sport scooter. So that's why there is a high resale value for these. That's how much I spent on the bike. I hope you enjoyed all of these videos that I did on it. And I'll be doing some vlogs of just riding it around. I can't wait. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.